Hello Wolfpack. Alright, so let's just start off here. This is a video explaining what's next for the market and the entirety of the bull cycle. So it's a bit of a longer term video. Is the bull market over? Basically is the big question everyone's been asking. Okay, so to answer this question, let's look at the last cycles pinned out on a map of the current chart. So we can see that this cycle over here, the first cycle we had, the second cycle we had, and the last cycle we had before this one. So you can see they're obviously getting less sharp and they're extending in time. So, and the highs are getting lower as well, right? So realistically, a lot of these 300k predictions by the end of the year are coming from people that are looking at the last cycle and using it as a data point. That's illogical. In my opinion, 300k Bitcoin by the end of the year is a completely illogical assumption because it assumes that this cycle is going to be the same as the last cycle. That's simply not the case. What we're probably going to be seeing is this cycle underperforming from the last cycle and going deep into 2022 before coming to a peak of about 120,000 to 140,000. That is if we're following the lengthening cycle with diminishing returns theory. So, that being said, we can see that we're actually in no rush to make a decision here. I have it plotted out that we're going to make a decision by August the 8th. That's simply because the descending triangle that I've drawn ends in August the 8th. So what could happen here, right? So this is one question I've been getting asked a lot as well. It's like, are we going up or down? Well, we're in an uncertain market. We're between, resistance zones and support zones, critical ones, right? No one knows. And that's just a fact. And people telling you they know are lying to you. All right, and that's my opinion, obviously, but that's what I'm seeing as a fact here. What I do know is that eventually we will be recovering. If we're following the diminishing cycles with, the lengthening cycles of diminishing returns theory, we could actually be seeing this for an extended period of time before a recovery. We will be recovering at some point. If we don't recover, I think the cryptocurrency is going to be in a big trouble here. Because that would break our whole cycle theory. Our whole 4-year cycle theory would be broken. So realistically, I'm thinking we're going to be making new highs, and the bull market will be ending, in my opinion, in 2022. 300k by the end of the year before a bull market ending just doesn't make sense. If you're looking at the historical data, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's just get that out of the heads here. In fact, 300k Bitcoin by the end of this cycle is very optimistic. As I said, 120k to 140k seems likely. So, looking at the indicators here, we have the 50 MA and the 200 MA, we have the T3 Coral Support Band, and we have the Bull Market Support Band. The T3 Coral Support Band is the blue one here. We can see multiple retests of this as the run-up happened. We saw a drop below, and we tested for resistance, and then we dropped further down. Okay, so that's basically our trend indicator. And the bull market support band acts the same way as the T3 Coral support band acts, just on a longer term basis, okay? All right, so what am I doing in this market? Okay, so if we see a drop down on that case, that on the scenario that we see a drop down here to 20k Bitcoin, we'll be seeing a 40% drop in Bitcoin. If we see a rise up, we'll be seeing a 30% rise in Bitcoin, okay? So logically that tells us that we should be on the sidelines or we should be buying Bitcoin in increments on the drops because the return is lower than the risk, right? If we're buying here, we're risking a lower percentage return than we would be risking as the loss. So it's not a smart move, just based off mathematics, it's not a smart move, especially when the likelihood of a drop is probably the same as the likelihood of a bounce. Do I think we need to go to 20k? No, I don't think we need to go to 20k. I don't think it has to happen. Because, it could happen just because of the fact that this cycle, in my opinion, has more than 12 months remaining. So, the short-term price action doesn't really matter to me. We could see a drop to 20k. We should see a sharp rebound, something like that. Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't need to happen though, but we should definitely be cautious of it. I'm not buying altcoins because if we see a drop to a 40% drop in Bitcoin, altcoins are going to be dropping 50 to 70%. That's just a fact. That's too risky for me. Some people might like that risk. That's not for me. I'm a very conservative investor. I invest off of the cycles, right? In my opinion, Bitcoin needs to be in order for altcoins to see a massive recovery, Bitcoin needs to squash this 43k resistance. At the end of the day, we're not going to be re-entering a bull market unless Bitcoin gets above this 43k resistance, which means we're not going to be seeing an altcoin season until that happens, So investing in altcoins here for me is not the right kind of game plan. What I'd be looking to do is investing in Bitcoin here, waiting for it to go above 43k, and then swapping my Bitcoin into altcoins in preparation for the altcoin season. All right. So I hope this has kind of given you guys a good kind of example of what I'm expecting and not necessarily what I'm expecting, but what I'm kind of doing in this uncertain market, because that's exactly what it is. It's an uncertain market. No one really knows what's going to happen here. When we get above this resistance zone or we get below the support zone, we can start making assumptions. But in this current, what we can say here is that, we're in a descending triangle, which is typically a bearish formation, but then on the contrary, we're in a larger bull market cycle, which means that's bullish. So there's conflicting data coming from every point. So to answer the question whether we're going up or down is kind of impossible. We just need to wait and see how it plays out. And, obviously we can make short-term predictions all we want, but at the end of the day, what I think is going to happen on a macro scale is we're going to go up regardless of whether we go down first. So if we go down to 20k, that's a great buying opportunity. We're going to go up. All right. But whether we're going to go down or up first is a hard question to answer. We will be trying to answer it in the future, but right now we just simply don't have enough data available to us. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support, and I'll catch you guys next time.